again, in those top trusted people, a person like myself, so a customer sharing their experience with the product is so important. So I built it right into my charter partner user agreements that once I earned their endorsement after 30 days, they would participate in a case study. I made a Google form, they filled it out, I asked them what was the situation like prior to working with me, why did they choose Annum, how did it make a difference, how was implementation, what were the results, and was there any ROI? And then I wrote it in their voice, and I've got pull quotes that I'm able to merchandise throughout my website and other places. I'm Patty Radford Henderson. I am the CEO and founder of Annum. Annum is a master marketing calendar that allows you to get an integrated view of all of your marketing channels, along with holidays, cultural events, customer insights, in one universal view so you can make strategic decisions when you're putting your plan together. So I have been a marketer I had quite a lengthy career as a marketer. I am now a founder and CEO of a MarTech company, a SaaS product, and this is the first time that I've been in a room with peers, and I am very grateful to be here, and I appreciate how kind and supportive everyone is. So today, what I wanted to do was give you what I've done, share what I have done as a founder, ramping up a software company to kind of slowly ramp up marketing at the same time, using some of the principles I've used throughout my entire career. So the first thing I want to start off with is before your beta. And from the people I've talked to, we've got people spread out all over kind of the life cycle of a SaaS startup. So if this doesn't relate to you immediately for the stage you're in, please take it for what it's worth, and maybe it's something that you can apply no matter where you're at. But what I really think is the opportunity before you're actually getting customers into your software is, of course, customer discovery, making sure you understand the problem, but also getting to how the customer describes the problem. And this is something that I did that was super helpful, and it was customer problem interviews. So I wasn't pitching my product, I wasn't showing my product, I was just talking to them. And I was talking to them specifically about the problem I was solving, not in general about, what are all your pain points, but just let's get specific about the problem that I'm solving. And I shared my frustration, and then I just let them go and let them just kind of rant about it. What is so great about this is I was then able to pull phrases and words from them that I have now pulled all the way through my marketing. So I'm using my customer's voice to explain back to them the problem, and it's, a very powerful thing. The other thing that I believe is very important right away is to establish your brand online. So Edelman does a trust survey, a trust barometer every year, and they list who are considered the most trusted spokespeople for companies. Number one would be an academic expert. Number two would be a technical expert within the company. 3 is a person just like me, so that would be like another customer who's had an experience. And 4 would be the CEO. So if you're either the CEO or the technical expert in your company, you're considered a trusted source, and you really need to establish your credibility. And number one, I would say, is build out your LinkedIn profile to actually show the credentials that you have, and make sure that your title in LinkedIn gets a lot of value. Because if you are commenting or posting things, people are going to see, the name of your company. But I've also put a couple words there to describe what the company is. I've listed an accelerator I've been in, and other things to just kind of build that credibility right off the bat. The other thing, of course, is get a website up, do some keyword research. If you can put some helpful content out there to start building some SEO, that's great. Start a wait list, etc. Next, I would recommend dipping your toe in social media. And if you're a B2B SaaS, LinkedIn is the place where you want to be. I'm not a natural one to social media, so this was something that I had to kind of work myself up towards. I do a lot of consulting on what people should do, but just not so natural for me. So what I found worked for me was to think about it as you are sharing your journey with your network. Not think of it as you've got your sales hat on and trying to sell, convert. But really, you're letting your network know what's going on, and you're sharing your journey. And don't really worry about likes or comments, but just start slowly doing it. My goal was once a week when I started out. It's also a great opportunity for you to document milestones. So whenever something great happened that I felt good about, or maybe there was a big decision I made, put it out there on LinkedIn, share it with my network. It was surprising how many people would come back to me when I would talk to them later. Oh, I saw you did this, or you had that happen. Or I could go back and reference LinkedIn to find out when something actually happened. And I was also starting to get some demos out of it when I was doing this too. It's another great opportunity for you to start working on storytelling. Storytelling is so important in terms of getting your journey out there, engaging people, and telling stories through short little LinkedIn posts is a great way to start. So now we're moving into your beta. You have got software. You want to start getting some customers on that software, and there is still a lot you can learn. You've learned a lot about how they talk about the problem, but now we can learn about their buying jobs. And this has kind of been a theme today, but what I find is super helpful is this diagram from Gartner. They've got 5 different buying jobs that a B2B buyer has to go through. The first is actually identifying the problem. Someone brought up in the last session I was in, like, how do you get someone to move off the status quo? You need to help them understand that there actually is a problem, because they're just doing workarounds and they don't see it as a problem. It's solution exploration, so understanding all the different avenues I can go into. The requirements building, so building that list of what my needs are. Determining who are the suppliers that I'm going to review, weighing them against that list. And then you've decided who you want to go forward with, but you need to validate that. How do you validate it so you're not making a mistake? And then there's always that consensus building. So this is kind of a lot to unpack, but this is something that you can do during your demo phase. So every time you're doing a demo, you can find out what is important to them when they're making the buying decision. Who is the person to make the decision? What other products are they weighing me against? What do they hope their criteria to be? So while you're doing those demos, you can gather against those 6 different buying jobs all the intel that you need to help you as you get later on in your stages. At this stage, something that I'm so grateful that I did is I put a big effort into building out case studies. And again, in those top trusted people, a person like myself, so a customer sharing their experience with the product is so important. So I built it right into my charter partner user agreements that once I earned their endorsement after 30 days, they would participate in a case study. I made a Google form, they filled it out, I asked them what was the situation like prior to working with me, why did they choose Annum, how did it make a difference, how was implementation, what were the results, and was there any ROI? And then I wrote it in their voice, and I've got pull quotes that I'm able to merchandise throughout my website and other places. But this is really, about kind of that validation job that we're wanting to build content for. Also, during this stage, you've built out your, credentials on LinkedIn, but I really would like to urge you to build out your About Us page. People want to make sure that they are working with a credible company. They want to understand who the CEO is, who are the technical people, and the why behind you started it. So if you go to annumplanning.com, you're going to read our story of where the idea came from, how I came up with the idea to move forward with this. You're also going to see a lengthy bio, and you're going to see a list of all the speaking engagements and some logos of clients I worked with, because I'm like, okay, these people don't know me. I want anyone who goes to check out the company to understand my background, because I'm going to be trying to get on stage at things like this and also to get press written about me, and I want to get my credentials right up in front. So in working with a lot of clients as a marketer, I often found there was traffic to the About Us page, and the About Us page was rather thin. So if yours is thin, I would really urge you to put some effort there so people can really know what you've got. And now that you've talked to customers about the problem, you've been doing the demos, it's time for you to get out there and talk about the problem. This is something that you can truly own and start sharing with others, again, through social media and blogging or what it would be, your point of view on the problem and what causes it, and then leading people back to you. The other thing that you can start doing, and I'm trying to kind of do this approach to kind of wading into the social media waters and giving you more things to talk about would be to share those frequently asked questions that come up. You're going to see customers during demos are going to continue to kind of ask some of the similar questions, and you can just start creating content that speaks exactly to those questions that you are dealing with when you're doing those demos. And you're going to really want to use it as a social platform. So engage with others, support their content, give them likes, share their things, answer their questions. And when you write posts, think about calling out the people that have supported you and mentored you along the way while you're sharing updates about your journey. It's reciprocal. Once you start supporting others on the platform, they'll start supporting you, and then you're actually going to start to see more exposure of your posts on the platform. Okay, so we have gotten through the beta, hurrah, and we're able to start selling. We're going to move into kind of full-on sales and marketing mode. And we've got these 6 buyer jobs that we know that our customers have to work through. So this is the good news. Gartner says that customers that find helpful information from a company are 2.8 times more likely to have ease of purchase when they're going through the process, and 3 times more likely to have a high-value, low-regret purchase. So you can address those buyer jobs with content. If you think of each of those 6 buyer jobs, what content can you publish on your website that will help them achieve that goal, and then how can you amplify that content out? So if it is the problem, how can you convince them that this is a problem and they need to move on it? You could write a white paper that completely breaks down that problem. Understanding, what their options are. You can show a comparison at a high level of the big categories of tools and what they're going to do for you. You can build out a criteria list that they should use when they're trying to select a vendor. You can do side-by-side comparisons between you and the top vendors. When it comes to validation, showcase those case studies. Can you get an analyst to write about you? Can you make sure that your About Us page is filled out and your credentials are there so they understand you are a technical expert? And then that last one was consensus. How can you help them build consensus? One of my favorite examples here is a conference that had how to convince your boss to let you go to the conference. So you could think about content like that is particularly targeted to helping somebody else sell it in. And also at this phase, I'd like to urge you to claim your topics of expertise. You've done enough work. What can you own? I am standing up and owning the problem of marketing planning silos. That is huge in my business. I also want to see as the go-to for integrated marketing planning and omni-channel planning, as well as baking marketing into your product roadmap, as we've got here today. So determining what those are, so then you can do sponsorships, get speaking events, and start to be known as the person who has a point of view about that topic, and then it relates to the problem you're solving and to your solution. And then lastly, under post beta is amplifying it all. So what I think is so great about the customer stories is that they have so much use. You can take a pull quote and turn it into a post and put it on LinkedIn, and then you can promote that post. You can pitch yourself and your customer co-presenting at a conference. You could take that case study, send it to a publication, and try to pitch them writing an article about how that customer was able to solve their marketing planning silos. So the credibility of having a customer speak could really be leveraged in terms of getting you some broader awareness. And then also, establishing those platforms that you talk about can get you on, podcasts, guest blogging, speaking at conferences, again, getting in front of your target audience so that you can build some awareness. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is staying on track, because when you've got everything spinning as a CEO, and I'm finding it hard to stay on top of marketing with trying to keep everything going, and this is how I do it, and this is actually a screen capture from my tool, Annam, which is a master marketing calendar. I put everything on one big picture view. Along the bottom, you're not going to be able to read any of this, but along the bottom in yellow are my phases of development that I've got planned. Okay, if it shifts out, I will shift them out. But right now, that's the plan. I've also got events that I'm going. MicroConf is on there, and I'm sponsoring a marketing gathering. I've got a row for email, and all my regular emails are on there that are going out. I've got a row for what's happening on my website. So the content that I need to have before the different features roll out is marked. So I know I need to get that page up. I need to do this page. I need to make this update. And then I've got social media posts. Once you've got everything filled in, it's kind of easy to be like, well, I'm going to post that I'm at MicroConf. I'm going to post that we're sponsoring this event. I'm going to post that we're launching this feature. And then all of a sudden, the calendar starts to fill up, and you're not looking at a blank page. And that's something that, I think is super helpful, is when you do have a plan and you're able to sit down, you can look at it, you can evaluate, see where the gaps are, figure out where you're able to, fill in the blanks. But at a high level, if you start with the activities that you know about and your product roadmap, you can build a plan a couple months out and then keep it rolling and evolving. So 4, 3, 2, 1, that's the... hit it on the nose. That's pretty good. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Patty.